The Crew's new crew wants to build their own servers. A group of 5 modders has begun building their own servers in order to make The Crew playable once more, after the game's official servers were shut down by Ubisoft earlier this year. The Crew had solo play, but all game modes nonetheless required a server connection. The mod team points to this capacity for solo play as an important difference between The Crew and many other games that died with the closing of their servers. The game likewise had the unusual feature of allowing players to drive across a contiguous open-world scale model of the entire continental US. According to Whammy4, a member of the Crew Revival Project, if the industry's trend toward artificial online requirements continues, then in a decade we'll have tons of unplayable, dead games that people once loved and played. The Crew's community should absolutely not let Ubisoft keep getting away with such horrendous practices, otherwise it will just keep happening to more and more games, including the Crew's sequels, and history will just keep repeating itself. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks, Whammy4. Our discussion question here is, what would it mean if communities building their own servers became the standard response to these kinds of shutdowns? How do you think game companies would respond? I don't know. On the one hand, you know, I look at it and I go, like, surely they wouldn't be, like, if people are just going to do all of the work on their own, surely they wouldn't be stupid enough to go and stomp on these people. But then on the other hand,
it's happened.
Yeah, and there's legitimate potential liability for people firing up this game that they licensed from the game developer, because technically it's a license, firing up this game that they licensed from the game developer, and potentially something malicious happening, because we're seeing good groups work to, you know, put servers back up to help people play these always online games, but nothing would prevent a malicious group from doing something like that, or a bad actor from interfering with the work of a good group. And man, driving games are really complicated, just because anything, I don't know if the Crew had licensed car models and stuff like that, but that can be a big problem. That can be very challenging. Licensed music can be a big challenge. It
almost certainly has licensed music in it.
And there can be an obligation for the game developer to go after. Like, that can be something they're contractually obligated to do. I think there's going to, and remember, we're not just talking about the Crew in particular right now. We're talking about this more broadly. Will this trend of user groups putting servers online in order to keep these games alive continue? I doubt it will be feasible. If this is not something that is baked into the plan for the game, I don't see it being something that can happen.
It's a ton of work. So you can't expect it to happen, right? People aren't being compensated for this. You can't expect it to happen every time. And if this was expected to happen for every game every time, it's too much work. You're leaning on the community too hard. It's unreasonable.